This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. A former PC cabinet minister, a second cabinet minister, is denouncing a former colleague. Rochelle Squires alleges that PC MLA Jeff Wharton asked her to approve a controversial sandmine project after the party lost the provincial election to the NDP. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel has the latest.
Their actions, former PC cabinet minister Rochelle Squires is calling unconscionable.
I was surprised when I was asked to provide an approval for the sand project.
In a column published in the Winnipeg Free Press Thursday, Squires alleges former Economic Development Minister Jeff Wharton called her days after their party's October 3rd election defeat to sign off on a proposal to drill silica sand in southeastern Manitoba.
And I'd said that that wasn't something that I thought we should be doing, and that was the end of the conversation.
Squires says she decided to go public after hearing Wharton denied making the same request to former Environment Minister Kevin Klein. Wharton denied that anyone in his government had tried to approve the geosilica mining project during the transition period before Premier Wabkanu's government had been sworn in, which would have broken the caretaker convention.
Making a decision in the caretaker mode is certainly something that is unconventional and unconscionable.
CBC reached out to Wharton for comment, but didn't hear back before broadcast. In a statement to CBC on Wednesday, University of Manitoba Professor Emeritus Paul Thomas said an ask that big and long-term would have been inappropriate for an outgoing government and egregious, considering the project's environmental concerns. And Squires agrees.
The future of that sand mine rightfully belongs with the incoming government, and certainly not something that our government, whether it be through a ministerial order or a director's order, nothing that our former government should have been accelerating and moving forward.
Squires also said Wharton had told her Heather Stephenson couldn't approve the project because the former premier had a conflict. But in a statement to CBC Thursday, Stephenson's spokesperson says she doesn't have a conflict of interest with geosilica and that she respected due process in the transition phase. Manitoba's ethics commissioner says he can only open an investigation into alleged breaches of conflict of interest rules if a sitting MLA makes a complaint. CBC has reached out to the NDP for comment. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And we did get an update from PC MLA Jeff Wharton late in the day. In a statement, he did not address whether he asked Rochelle Squires to approve the project. He says that decision is now up to the NDP. I want to take you to Furby Street in West Broadway now. A live look of some breaking news we've been following this afternoon. Winnipeg police have been asking people to avoid Furby Street because of an ongoing serious incident at an apartment building. Police said no additional details. We can tell you that police were here at this building yesterday as well with a forensics vehicle, but we do not know if those two incidents are linked. We'll try and bring you more on this story as it becomes available. Winnipeg Biotech company has developed a super assassin, an assortment of viruses that kill dangerous bacteria in chickens. The scientists say their product could also treat people and could be a solution to an urgent public health threat, antibiotic resistance. Karen Pauls explains.
Those clearings are where you can actually see that the phages, the viruses, have basically consumed the bacteria.
These Winnipeg scientists have developed a cocktail of viruses that kills E. coli and salmonella in chickens.
And this is the way that we can tell how strong the bacteriophage is against the bacteria.
They believe their product could also be adapted to treat people who have infections caused by drug-resistant superbugs.
They already do a job, and that job is killing bacteria on our body.
Phages are viruses that only infect bacteria. They work by binding themselves to a cell, injecting their genetic information inside, creating more of themselves until they burst out, looking for more hosts to kill.
It's very keyed into actually killing bacterial infections only. Doesn't infect human cells, doesn't infect animal cells, and you probably have about 100 trillion of them all over you right now.
Stephen Terrio's research found the survival rate of chickens infected with E. coli and then given farm phage was 92%, compared to 8% of untreated birds.
Our birds are healthier, so when they had a flu come through the actual barns, our chickens actually survived a lot better than the actual barn that was the control barn.
If the bacteriophage can replace antibiotics in chickens, Terrio believes they are an answer to antibiotic resistance in humans, too. The World Health Organization says it's a global threat associated with millions of deaths every year.
According to the WHO, antimicrobial resistant diseases will increase at least 300-fold by 2050. They're going to be dying in the hospitals because there's no treatments. We can actually treat those diseases by using a virus.
Any new therapeutic product has to be authorized for use in animals and humans. Farm phage has been approved in Bangladesh, and it's currently going through the process in the U.S. Industry groups are lobbying for changes to Canada's regulatory system so bacteriophages can be submitted for approval here too. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, to Brandon now, where a charge has been laid in connection to the death of a 15-year-old boy in October. Antoine Sutherland was cycling home from Vincent Massey High School when he was hit by a car. The 24-year-old driver of that car stayed at the scene and waited for police. Police now say that vehicle had been traveling at more than twice the legal speed limit when it hit Sutherland. The driver has been charged with dangerous operation of a motor vehicle causing death. He is scheduled to appear in court in February. Well, new year, new savings. The province's newly introduced gas tax holiday kicks in on January the 1st. CBC's Zubina Ahmed now with how motorists are feeling.
The price of filling up fuel left many Manitobans tapped out in 2023. That includes Gaganpreet Singh.
Because of the winters, the gas prices are high too, and then the gas consumption is high.
But in few days' time, that will change. With the elimination of the provincial gas tax for the next 6 months. It was part of the NDP promise in the election.
That if our team wins this year's election, the Manitoba NDP is going to cut the provincial gas tax and save you 14 cents a litre every single time you fill up at the pump.
The NDP say the tax break will cost the Treasury $165 million to cover the gas over the next 6 months. But Canoe said his party is prepared to extend the tax break.
We'll keep this cut in place so long as inflation remains high.
A gas tax holiday has its supporters.
I think it benefit everybody greatly, reduce cost on living, like buying groceries, filling my vehicle, going to work, that kind of stuff. I think that'd be a great thing for all Canadians.
I'm driving every day, like for the work and my other stuff too. So it'll be big help if the gas price is low.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Kuldeep Singh has owned Golden Temple Transport Limited in Manitoba for 7 years. Singh says his company buys about 200,000 litres of fuel per month for their fleet, with routes of up to 3,400 kilometres per trip.
We welcome on the decision, and special for us like trucking companies need at this time because freight rate is very low and freight is not in the market here. So if like we got diesel rebate like 14 cents per liter is very good for us.
Singh says he hopes the tax break continues beyond 6 months. Zubina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Governor-General has announced new appointments to the Order of Canada, and 2 Winnipeggers are among the latest recipients. Yisa Akinbolaji is recognized for his innovations as a visual artist and for his mentorship of young people in Manitoba, and Andre Lewis for his decades of outstanding leadership at the Royal Winnipeg Ballet. Broadcaster George Stroumboulopoulos is being recognized for his contribution to Canadian media and journalism. Another former CBC broadcaster is joining this exclusive club. Bronwyn Draney was also editor-in-chief of the Literary Review of Canada. Among the honorees is the creator of these beautiful stringed instruments. Linda Manzer is being recognized for her trailblazing contributions and achievements. The honors will be handed out in the new year. Well, if you've been itching to get your skates on, you don't have long to wait. The Assiniboine Park Duck Pond opens for skating starting tomorrow. And as you can see, did not stop some people from lacing up their skates already today, though. The Assiniboine Park Conservancy says the skating shelter by the pond will be open from 7 in the morning until 10 at night. There's also a licensed pop-up patio, complete with a fire.
Weather update is brought to you by the art and beauty of the National Ballet of Ukraine. January 29th at the Burton Cummings Theatre. Tickets at nationalballetukraine.com.
And that leads us to a look at your weather forecast. Another bright sunny day, as you saw in some of that footage there across most of Manitoba. But things maybe will change depending on where you are. Looking at satellite and radar, really not a lot to see. Mainly sunny skies, stuck in this high pressure, keeping us sunny and clear, which means temperatures are going to dip a little bit as we get into the evening tonight once again. Skies stay clear into the early part of Friday. That's when we see some cloud cover moving into the north, and we could see a chance of some flurries across northern Manitoba. Places like Flin Flon, Lynn Lake, Thompson could see a few snowflakes as we get into the day on Friday. That cloud moves a little bit further south. By the time we get to Saturday, we see a northwesterly flow, a chance of flurries to the Red River Valley, and with that comes some strong winds. Right now in Winnipeg, it's -6. Pressure is falling. We were hovering around the freezing mark around much of southern Manitoba today. -9 in Thompson right now. Brandon at -10 already under those clear skies. I mentioned the winds. As you can see, winds will start to shift around as we get into the day tomorrow. By the time we get to the afternoon, gusty winds out of the northwest. I'd say gusting up to about 40 through the Riding Mountain region tomorrow. Those gusty winds move through into Saturday for the rest of us in southern Manitoba. So expect a little bit of a breeze as we get into the day on Friday and Saturday. -11 tonight in Winnipeg, a clear sky, double-digit lows in the north as well. We do see a chance of some flurries across northern Manitoba, -8 in Thompson, and in Winnipeg tomorrow, a high of -2 degrees under a mainly sunny sky. Your 7-day forecast is coming up. Well, the bison is an important symbol of Indigenous identity and culture, but it also has implications for the future of the prairies, rehabilitating grasslands and conserving water in a time of climate change. And as Karen Pauls explains, it is a message ecologists and Indigenous leaders are trying to spread.
There we go. Good job.
A ceremony honoring an animal with deep spiritual significance.
Feels like family to me.
Anthony Tatchin's family is keeper of this herd.
These animals have saved our lives. They provided food and weapons out of the bones, tools, the hides for clothing, the teepees. It did everything for us. So going forward, we decided, you know what, it's our turn to give back. It's our turn to look after them.
This territory, from the Canadian prairies to Mexico, used to have tens of millions of bison.
After colonial settlements, essentially the bison were eliminated, slaughtered off this continent to the point where they almost went extinct.
Gila Shamon says that coincided with government assimilation policies for Indigenous peoples, and it had consequences for grasslands and the prairies. Replaced by farmers' fields, they are now considered at-risk ecosystems.
The native grasses are gone, the microbes that are so essential for everything that's living within those soils is gone. And we're just losing it at an unprecedented rate.
And that's where the bison helped, grazing, then relieving themselves, reintroducing nutrients and spreading seeds, rolling in the ground, creating wallows where rainwater can gather, ecosystems for insects, birds, and small animals. But there aren't enough of them, and they can't move freely.
If we don't allow them to to follow their natural tendencies, their natural behaviors, then we're constraining their ability to be that keystone species, to be that ecosystem engineers. So we need to think about ways of making room for bison to return and to do their magic.
That magic recently came to the Métis Nation in Saskatchewan. 25 female bison transferred from Grasslands National Park to Batoche.
It really is symbolic in that way, that the bison are back on our land where, people fought and died for Métis rights.
Michelle Leclerc says the goal is to grow the herd to 150 bison for food, education, and land revitalization.
We're related to the buffalo. We're related to the land. We're related to each other. And one of the things for our elders and for us is to ensure that we have a healthy environment for everyone.
Back in Manitoba, this First Nation is cancelling agricultural leases of its land, turning it back into grasslands and then over to the bison, preserving the land and the living things that rely on it. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation, Manitoba.
Still ahead tonight, a dramatic rescue in the Northwest Territories. How a Hercules from 17-wing Winnipeg helped rescue 10 people after a plane crash in a remote part of the territory. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. 10 people are receiving treatment following a dramatic rescue in a remote part of the Northwest Territories. Their twin otter plane went down about 300 kilometers north of Yellowknife yesterday. Juanita Taylor has more.
About 24 hours after going down in an airplane onto a frozen lake and sleeping in heated tents last night, 8 passengers and 2 crew members will have quite the story to tell now that they are back in Yellowknife and receiving treatment. After reporting the accident, a Hercules aircraft was dispatched from Winnipeg. Teams spotted the downed plane late into the evening near Diavik Diamond Mine. Despite high winds and low visibility, 2 search and rescue technicians parachuted to the stranded passengers and crew with equipment and supplies, forcing them to wait out a rescue until today. And at daylight today, in improved weather conditions, rescue teams got into action, including helicopters picking up the stranded people from the accident site to a nearby airfield where medevac planes were waiting. 2 sustained major injuries, 6 are being treated for minor injuries, while 2 walked away unhurt. Air Tindi's president says the cause of the accident is still unknown.
We don't know. It was a ski aircraft. That's pretty normal in the Northwest Territories. We don't have a lot of airports or runways, so aircraft will take off on skis and land on a frozen lake. It was a private charter, but we don't know the conditions. We know that the aircraft had its accident right beside where it was intending to land. And we know that right afterwards that it was very windy with reduced visibility.
The Transportation Safety Board will be investigating the incident. Air Tindi says it too will be launching its own investigation to find out what happened and how to prevent it from happening again. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Rankin Inlet, Nunavut.
Overseas, the Israeli military continues to pound parts of Gaza. Warplanes and artillery targeted areas controlled by Hamas. One strike buried more than 20 people in a house in northern Gaza, according to a family member. Meanwhile, Israeli officials have issued a stern warning. They say if Hezbollah continues to attack Israeli targets from Lebanon, Israel will remove the Iranian-backed militia group from the border. Also today, a woman who grew up in Canada and moved to Israel was declared dead. Judith Weinstein was fatally wounded when Hamas attacked her kibbutz on October 7th. Her kibbutz says her body and that of her husband remain with Hamas in Gaza. Weinstein, a mother and a grandmother, was 70 years old. The White House has announced another $250 million in aid for Ukraine in its war against Russia. President Joe Biden's administration made the announcement yesterday. The weapons package includes an array of air defenses, missiles, and ammunition. It comes amid the U.S. president's calls for more support from Congress for the war-torn country. U.S. officials say it could be its final aid package for Ukraine unless new funding legislation is approved. Well, safety on open ice is a serious concern now that many parts of the country are experiencing unusually mild weather like we've seen here in Manitoba. In Ottawa, 1 teen is dead and another still missing after 4 friends fell through the ice on the Rideau River last night. 2 teens were rescued and are now in stable condition. Nicole Williams looks at that and other recent deadly incidents on the ice.
It's been a long, desperate, and difficult search as police divers scour the waters of the Rideau River. Emergency crews hoping to find the body of a teenage boy still trapped in the frigid waters. He and 3 friends came here last night to go skating and fell through the ice. 2 were quickly rescued. Another 17-year-old Ahmed was found dead.
We are all screaming, actually. It's really hard. It's really hard. We can't describe it, really. This is the worst feeling ever. Really, we can't do nothing. We can't do nothing.
His family didn't want to speak on camera, but says Ahmed was the youngest of 4. He loved sports and wanted to be a police officer. He and his family came to Canada 10 years ago as refugees.
With the warm weather, it's been hard. There's not much ice being made. So if you try to step on it, you're going to likely break through right now.
There have been other recent deadly incidents in parts of the country of people falling through ice. West of Edmonton, a family of 3 had been missing for days before their bodies were found trapped under the ice on Lac St. Anne. And on Tuesday near Calgary, RCMP recovered the body of a man who fell through the ice at Christmas.
I know I speak for our community when we send our thoughts and condolences out to the families of the victims. And certainly this is an opportunity to hug the ones we love a little tighter tonight.
In Ottawa, it's now a recovery mission for the body of a 16-year-old boy. Crews say they'll look as long as they can before the sun sets. For the 2 teens lucky enough to make it out of the water, they were brought here to the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario and treated for mild hypothermia. For the family of the 17-year-old boy who was already found, they say funeral arrangements are being made at their local mosque. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Ottawa.
Still ahead, I'll have your 7-day forecast, which includes the conditions for New Year's, and your daily lift. You're watching CBC Winnipeg News. All right, let's have a look at your 7-day forecast. We're expecting another sunny day in southern Manitoba. Tomorrow, like I mentioned, could see some flurries in the north. A better chance for flurries in the south comes on Saturday with a cloudy high of -6 in Winnipeg. Closer to seasonal by the time we get to your New Year's Eve on Sunday with -8 degrees. New Year's Day looking at a -1 high under a mainly sunny sky. -4 for Tuesday. Another very slim chance of some flurries, otherwise cloudy. And temperatures a little bit more seasonal by the time we get to the middle and end of next week. Organizers of a winter carnival in India delighted by animal lovers by including a dog show. Several pups strutted their stuff at the event in Shimla, impressing locals and tourists. Well, you take a look at that. The show featured several breeds, including many that are found in colder climates. Organizers are considering having a similar event for the stray dogs in the future. For days now, tourists have been flocking to Shimla in northern India to enjoy the carnival and New Year's celebrations. Well, aren't they cute? And that is our newscast for this evening. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great evening.